Good morning. I'm coming to you this morning in my PJs, halfway through meds. Definitely not put together or glamorous, but I did promise myself that if I was going to do this, if I was going to share, then I was going to share real, and that I wouldn't wait until either A, I felt better, or B, I felt good enough to put makeup on and you know, I don't know, beautify. So I'm coming in the beauty that's there without anything else. So I just wanted to share this morning. I was in the middle of testing for meds, and Rick came out and he was saying that something popped up on his Facebook feed from our honeymoon, and it was 4 years ago. So 4 years ago at this time, we were in Hawaii and on our first big adventure as a married couple. And I'm a little sad or embarrassed to admit this, but the thing that I think about around that is actually that was when everything started, like with this second round of MAC, and I'm sad and a little embarrassed that I associate our honeymoon with sort of the beginning of what would be this pretty challenging time. So what happened was, well, first of all, we had lots of awesome moments in our honeymoon, and I love Hawaii. And I'd love to go back. I don't know if that's possible for me, but I'm leaning into the idea that it is. Yeah, we had lots of amazing adventures, and we really went for it. And that second week when I was there, I got pretty sick. I actually, we spent one of the days of our honeymoon with me in an IV clinic, and the day we were supposed to take our surfing lesson, I was down for the count. So they had like a freak cold snap in Hawaii, and a lot of the island was sick, and I happened to get it. So it was like, I don't know whether it was a flu or virus or something that was going around. So the IV nutrition helped me get well enough to be able to, come home. But then after we got home, Rick actually got sick. And we managed that in the house. It's challenging when Rick is sick, or when one of us is sick, because we try and separate fully in the house to try and either not get the other one sick to get it back and that kind of thing. So we almost made it through that. Rick was just starting to get better, and then I got sick with what he had. So at that point, I was really sick. I was probably the sickest I've ever been in my life. And by the time I was doing better, I had just about 30% of my lung function, and that was better. I was in the hospital. I had to be hospitalized after that. I was to the point where I was on oxygen. Yeah, it was an intense and hard time for us. But it was also a beautiful time for a couple of reasons. One, I learned that I could, just get through with smaller amounts of breath. I was with and met what I've been afraid of for a long time, around what it looks like to really not be able to breathe, and know that I can still find something in a way to be okay then. So anyway, I think I could share more about that, but what I wanted to share, what I first felt inspired to share about, was just that that was I'm smiling because I feel like I'm doing this very awkwardly, but I'm just gonna do it. So that was the beginning of this MAC round. I had been clear before our honeymoon for 4 years from MAC. I had had a MAC treatment before. The first time was clear for 4 years, and then when I got very sick, and the thought is that in Hawaii there's a strong prevalence of MAC, which we did not know. It's in the freshwater systems there, and which of course, you know, I was jumping into and all of that because adventure, you know, like why not? And we had no idea. So anyway, when I got home and when I was very sick in the hospital, they tested me and I did have MAC show back up for the first time at that point. So it was 4 years ago that we've been kind of doing this dance. It took a significant amount of time at that time to decide to, yes, go ahead with a second treatment because, like I think I explained before, you don't want to do, I don't know if I explained this before or not, but you don't really want to do a treatment with MAC once necessarily in the body. It's a hard treatment, it's tough on the body, and it's long. But to do it twice was like, you know, don't want to do that if we don't have to. So it took a year at least, maybe 2, to decide to treat the second round. And then I did treat the second round. I was in treatment. I was clear within the first month, which means I'm not culturing MAC at that point. So what happens with the MAC treatment is that once you're clear, then they treat for at least a year beyond that. So I ended up being in treatment for, some of you will remember this, a year and a couple of months. And then on New Year's Day, 2 years ago, I guess now, I stopped the treatment. And we didn't actually know this until February, but I got recultured 4 days later, and MAC showed up again, which was heartbreaking after, you know, doing what it took to get through a second treatment. Yeah, it really rocked our worlds in a big way, so much so that even the doctors thought the culture must have been a mistake, and they cultured again and then again, and it kept showing up. So I have been on a journey since, my friend Leisha hates that word, but it feels true for me. I've been on this sort of MAC journey around, like, one, what the F is going on, two, do we treat, do we not treat, is this something that is just a part of my being and existence now? So that was in, what is this, 2019? So I feel like that was in January of 2017. So that's what has brought us to this day. Yeah, I don't even know if I should put this out there because I feel like I'm not articulating as well and saying what I want to say. So how do I sum this up? This has become a long video. I guess my point in sharing was that, was one, just like admitting like some of how, admitting the like association with our honeymoon, like just being real about that. And two, just naming like how long this dance with Mac has been, and trying to show some of the like the length of time and thought and investigation that it's taken to sort of get to this point. Name like how scary it was when I was really, really sick, and how grateful I am that I've come back from that point, like knowing that I have so many friends who live with CF, and people I don't know who live with CF who don't get to come back from that point with their bodies or with their own lungs. So just naming like the honor and privilege of that, and yeah, that, and I think there'll be more to share from this place, but it feels important to at least like set that context, because I don't think everybody knows that. And I know a lot of times like people don't actually understand, you know, what this has been, and they have questions, and sometimes they ask them and sometimes they don't. So I guess I'm just putting this out there. I'm just freaking doing this. I'm doing this imperfectly, but I'm freaking doing it. So, good morning from Imperfect, Corey.